I would like to say, if you would like to come up, when we're done here, I have something I want to show you that's astounding. This is crude oil made from coal. Wes? Oh, back to the mic. I didn't think anybody could not hear me. This is crude oil made from coal. A few weeks ago, or a few months ago, I should say now, it's about a year ago, I suppose, I was in talking to Gary Buchanan, and at that, somewhere along the line there, gasoline was about $4 a gallon. I told my wife one night at home, I said, I'm going to make me some $2 a gallon gas. And she said, well, how in the world are you going to do that? I said, well, like we do everything else, we just have to do it. If somebody else can do it, we can do it. Now, guys, I got to tell you what I think about American people. I don't think they're lousy. I think they can do anything. Freedom is what allows us to do anything. Constraints are not what allow us to do anything. Constraints stop, they hinder, they slow down, constraints are terrible. Now, we have to use common sense, and we have to have common sense laws to regulate me so I don't hurt him. But the fact is, we have to be free to do things very seriously. You understand what I'm saying? So, Gary, I was talking to Gary, and I told Gary the same thing I told Polly. And Gary said, Jerry, can you do that? I said, well, somebody else can do it. We can do it. You know, I can do it. I'm not really concerned. It's not something that's rocket science. We're talking about making oil here. And I didn't know the process, didn't know anything about it. But I had Wes go buy me a piece of pipe. I had Ron Grimsroot weld some legs on it sometime later as we debated this issue and how to get from point A to B. And we ran our little machine 3 times, and we began to produce oil from raw coal. And I presented this. Wes and I set up an appointment with our county commissioners. I won't tell them, and that's what I said. Dave, when I said I'll scream like a mashed cat, I mean it. We put together an appointment with our county commissioners, and we presented this whole program, and I said, what I will do, if you guys will get behind the project, we will give you the process. Just do something to bring someone in here to start this industry in Billings, Montana. And guys, I want to tell you something. It doesn't cost $2.5 billion to do this. It costs a few $100 million to build a refinery. That's what we need. We can start an industry here. And I said, let's do it, guys, let's do it. And the answer was, we can't. We can't. I said, well, why can't you? Because if we promote that, we're promoting you guys. I said, didn't I just say it would give you the technology, give you the whole thing, if you just get somebody, you have influence, find out who in the country is interested in making this product, because we need the fuel. Now you say, well, Jerry, that's dumb. Why would you give it away? I'll tell you why I give it away, Tom. I give it away because I might sell one of those employees in that plant a piece of land. I have a selfish, vested interest in doing things. That's exactly the way I look at stuff. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to do that now, because I'm not sure if it means anything to anybody, but I dare them to ask me. Here are reports about this product. These are from Energy Labs, and I was kind of hoping that Roy Brown be here today, because this is from his brother's labs. It tells us that this product is 50% diesel, range organics, or in other words, 50% diesel, 30% gasoline, and 20% heavier oil. Now, that is about as high a grade crude as you want to get. I took it to Exxon and I said, guys, this is what I got. What do you think? They said, we don't want it. We can't use it. I said, well, why don't you want it and why can't you use it? Because it's too high grade. We're set up to run low grade Montana Canadian crude. And we can't use it. But if you can produce it, they said, we'll give you refineries up and down the Rocky Mountain front that would die to get it. Now, guys, we can do that right here in Billings, Montana. When I run into a problem, I'll tell you what I do. I try to figure out how to simplify it. Now, this little critter right here, one year, the reason I quit playing the guitar was because my hands went to pot. Arthritis took out some bones, and my wrists don't work right and don't make my fingers work just right to play guitar. You would love to hear that. When stumbling around on it, but I couldn't get my hoses done 1 year, I let them freeze. You know how hard that is? The trees frozen hose and you get two pieces apart. I got to show you the simple way to do it. Dick, I don't want to discriminate against either one of you two, so I'm going to talk to you this time. The way you do that is you make a hose connector that you stick together like that, and you clamp the little handle down like that, and that is exactly how it works. And I can do that, or you can do it with one hand. But that thing works like a charm, and you always wonder when you got the hose laying in the driveway, why does that silly thing keep leaking and running down the driveway? Well, this one doesn't do that. It has a seal inside, it has a seal outside, and it has a leverage lock, and now it's locked. There's different varieties of it for fire hoses and whatever. But anyway, that's what I do when I see a problem. Somebody came to me one time when I was in the coal business and said, "Can you make a coal log?" And I said, "Well, I suppose." "What's the problem?" He said, "Well, you can't make coal stick together because the more you crush it, the more it becomes a powder." I said, "Boy, that's right. I never thought about that." So I sent to Australia, and I got chemicals, and I sent to Europe, and I bought chemicals, and I sent all over the world trying to get chemicals to make coal stick together. Now this one's coated with wax at the moment, but as you can see, Dave, that's just coal. Anyway, and there's a couple binders in here, and how did we figure out how to do this? We started on solving the problem, and as we went along, I happened to find the two components that make coal stick together in my backyard. And so that's how it works. Sometimes, guys, solutions to problems are laying under our fingers, and we look the world over to try to figure out how to do it. I got a whole potload of these things, and I approach everything from the same direction as I start. My dad used to tell me the hardest part of any job is getting started. I took that lesson to heart, and ever since I have determined to do two things. Number one, I start. Number two, can't remember what that is. I started to tell you something else. Anyway, but that's the hard part right there, getting started. So guys, I say we have a problem in our country. Let's start right where we're at, and let's solve the problem one piece at a time. And I ask you to remember that is my philosophy. That's how I look at things, and that's how I approach them. And I'm not the greatest comedian in the world, so maybe I'm not the best guy to listen to, but I tell you something, if you want to come work with me, we can do some interesting things. Thank you.
Well, before we get to Q&A, Jerry, would you introduce your family members who are here? And then anybody's got a question or comment, feel free.
Yes, I would be glad. I'm proud of my family. I have Amy is the first one. She's my oldest daughter. But I knew she'd go for that because I always ask her, "Woman, what are you doing?" And anyway, the lady beside her is my granddaughter Kylie, and the lady beside her is my granddaughter Kendra, and my wife is the pretty one on the corner, and my daughter is standing over there keeping the window fogged up. The little guy over there on the corner beside Sherry is my granddaughter